All right, hello. Um, what I'm going to say is going to be a quick video. Unfortunately, it is going to be a bit disjointed. Sorry about the last few videos have been very disjointed as well. But it's just I've got loads of odds and sods of stuff to show people. Just connecting back in with this whole Super Bowl thing. In fact, just connecting back in to will actually be tomorrow. I'm actually doing this video on the 30th of January. And we're talking about, again, the idea of Madonna maybe having a death event on the 31st of January, the 131 number that's in Back to the Future on the train. Obviously, Madonna is a 6226 in the Gematria. Train is also a 6226. So they've got this little match going on, okay? Anyway, I've got some other matches with silver again. Silver's continuing to go up. My feeling is it's going to get to 155 and crash, but I'm not 100%. Remember, and I forgot to mention this in the last video. I talked about this scene, okay, and the end of the line, and the lightning comes down here, down the line, goes into the flux capacitor. Well, actually, it goes into the plutonium chamber. Sorry. Which is shaped like the top of the Space Needle, and over here with the Elite Barbershop is where the other end of the line is, where it's tied onto this post. The Elite Barbershop sign looks like an upside down Space Needle as well. So we have this connection to the Seahawks. The DeLorean itself is the Seahawk. It's also the Flying Elvis. It has the fire trails like the Flying Elvis of the Patriots. Okay, and then on this wall over here also is a barber pole. You can't see it in this picture, but the barber pole looks like a maypole. We've got Drake, May, Mayday, that reference to all of this stuff as well. And coincidentally, from 213, which is not the Super Bowl, but 213 is the other date that's super duper tied in with 28. 28 and 213 are inherently tied together with Lucas numbers. Okay, they're basically numbers that represent the start of that cycle. So it's the beginning of a new cycle. 288 is the end of the cycle, 2 is the beginning, and so then it goes 213, 213, which is the beginning of the cycle. Okay. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say, but so we've been talking about this idea of this silver bubble that they've generated with future contracts on silver, pushing the price of silver up. Okay, speculating that silver, if you've been listening to people talking about silver, oh, they need so much silver for this, that, and the other, and the speculation and selling these contracts, whatever's going on behind the scenes, whatever's going on behind the scenes is deliberate. Okay, it might look like people might say, well, they've lost control of X, Y, and Z. It's extremely deliberate. They know exactly what they're doing. At a certain point, you have to have a jubilee, a fresh start. Okay, the silver jubilee, the silver bullet, the thing that is going to destroy the mess that is right now with the fiat Federal Reserve note BS, that has to go, restart the system, and then they can start the whole process over again of rebuilding everything back up again. So it's just destroy and now rebuild everything back up again and continue to extract wealth and energy from the masses. Okay, anyway, this idea of the silver bubble crashing, we've talked about it several times now. This thing here, I forgot to mention, I don't think I've got it in this scene, but when Marty makes that trip back, remember, when he arrives back in 1985, the DeLorean, which is the silver, crashes into the Assembly of Christ, okay, back in 1985. In fact, I don't think it's in this scene. Oh yeah, it is. Hang on. I didn't realise it was actually in this bit. Well, it should show it. Maybe it's after this spot here. Hang on. Red driver. Hang on. Ready. There it is. And he'd be right, Red would be right, because the drunk driver is what everybody is right now. They're drunk on the, I don't know, on the system. Yeah. There it is. There's the crash of Silver. I forgot all about that. I don't know why I didn't mention that. I just got to completely dropped out of my mind. Anyway, and the return to what? The Assembly of Christ. The return to, hopefully, to some rendition of natural law again. Now remember, when a lot of people say, well, what the hell's natural law, or what's natural law got to do anything with anything, or when's natural law ever been a lot of people say this, when I've talked to people in comments before, a lot of people say, well, show me an instance of where natural law does anything useful. Well, the founding of the country, if you read the Declaration of Independence, that is all natural law that is listed in there. That all those ideas are all natural law ideas. Okay, it's basically a document that is all about natural law. Okay, and so one of the most important documents ever, and again, people don't really realize what it's about. What is Christ about? Christ is the human personification of natural law. Okay, as is the natural environment around us, is the Ten Commandments. Yeah, natural law written in stone that can't be changed. Anyway, I've waffled enough. Let me show you some stuff with this idea of the silver crash. Okay, the silver crash again. So the silver DeLorean, the silver crash. Okay, it will be linked to gold as well, because of course it will be precious metals. But really, we're talking about this bubble that they've created with silver more than anything, and this rapid rise in silver. So, and we're going to talk about Madonna and all that good stuff as well. So, while I'm just on the topic of this, before I forget as well, if we just back up, what is the reference? Why the barber shop there? Where is this? Come on. Dang it, I just clicked on it and I clicked off it. Why the barber shop? Could the barber shop actually be another reference to the quarter? When I say the quarter, I'm talking about this thing. And I want to show you something that's really interesting about this. I've mentioned this a few times, okay? And this is referenced on the dollar bill. I might show you this in just a second. But again, the quarter, one of the early designers of the quarter was, I just have it in here. I thought I had it in here. Well, maybe I didn't. Look, here we go. Was Barber. Charles E. Barber. Designed the Barber quarter in 1891. Okay, blah, 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 blah. But Barber was one of these designers of the quarter. Okay. So that is fairly, where the hell were we? That is fairly interesting with this barber shop reference right here. Okay, and with the May poll reference, May Day, with the Patriots, because let me show you as well why that also ties into the quarter. Let me just show you this, because it's just all over the place, sorry. This is the other, I believe right now, we have, I mentioned her in a couple of videos back, I think, or last video, Laura Fraser. Okay, and her design is on, maybe on the current quarter. Okay, her rendition of Washington's head. Now, they did put her design for her whole design for the quarter on this commemorative issue, George Washington Death Bicentennial $5 gold piece, right? Interesting. Let's look at the release date of that. Okay, May the 1st, 99. So that is pretty interesting, and I believe this is probably a typo here. It probably went to November the 30th, 99, because as far as I'm aware, there is no 31st of November. So that's probably a typing error there. And that probably should be the Great Scott date right there. Okay, so Great Scott and the May Day reference there. Pretty interesting. I think there was an interesting number jump with it, but I don't know what I can't remember now. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. What else have I got? So that ties again. Remember, her birthday was a 14th of September one. Just as we've seen a ton of 14th of September, 149 numerology, and 14th of September birthdays. So that was important with her. Another quarter reference and another May Day. Yeah, Drake May. What else we got here? Was there something else I wanted to show you in this thing? No. Just while we're on the topic of the quarter, though, I want to show you, the other side of the quarter. What do we have? We have a silver eagle. A silver eagle. Let's check out. I don't want to put some writing on there. Again, the Seahawks. Yeah. The silver reference in here. The eagle. The eagle. Okay. The silver eagle. Is that a stretch for people? I don't think so. The silver eagle, the Seahawk. Okay. Remember, this is a silver piece. Yeah. A connection back to the moon. Okay. Connection back to the moon. Interesting that you might think of the moon in quarters as well. Okay. As it goes through its phases. So this reference with quarters is pretty interesting with the moon. Okay. And again, don't forget that Darnold, who is the quarterback, is the number 14 shirt. Yeah, 1 quarter, the quarterback. Okay. Oh dear. 1 quarter, 1-4. Anyway, the silver eagle. Anyway, I'm making that connection with the silver and the connection back to the moon. And the moon obviously connects back to the sea. Yeah, it's a metaphysical representation of of the divine feminine. Yeah, metaphysical, a representation of the metaphysical. Okay. And so, of course, the moon has seas on it. Yeah, it connects back with, it affects the tides. It affects the sea. Yeah, so it's a connection back to the sea. Okay, it's a connection back to the metaphysical, the divine feminine. So again, very interesting with all this stuff about the temple and the clock stopping as well on 10:04, which is 1-4 numerology quarter again, 1-4. Let me show you this stuff on the dollar bill. Again, Seahawks colors with the dollar bill, this sort of grey, white, green. Okay, grey, white, green. Well, it's actually kind of a bluey. Whatever, anyway. You get kind of that idea. Let me show you this on here. Oh dear, I already started writing on here. Let's get this off. So, what I wanted to show you was, there's a couple of things on here, and we're going to talk about the reference to the quarter on here. I need to show you that. But before we get onto that, let's recap on a couple of things, because we're going to go and look at IPEC GOAT in just a second and connect back to the moon again. And then we'll do some interesting number jumps. But when you want to find the DAM fold on here, if you're new here and you have not seen any of my dollar bill decodes, I've got a whole bunch of them, absolute ton of them, from like for the last, I don't know how many years I've been doing this now, but anyway, there's a whole bunch of them in the back catalogue. But I'm going to show you the DAM fold here, which is, there's a little marker here, okay, and we pull across to the other little marker, okay, that's right there, and we've got a fold line. So you'd fold the dollar bill right here, okay, and then you'd be left with this bottom part of the dollar bill. That's all you'd be seeing. And so let me show you what you end up with is that Washington's chest area here, shoulders and chest, inside this picture frame, form the dam, okay? This would be the Hoover Dam here. Yeah, this is the top of the dam. This comes around. This is the bottom of the dam here. These are the sides, okay? And then the ruffles of the tie, okay, is the water flowing over the dam, right? The dam breaking. Right, that's the dam fold. Now, if you recall, the $10 bill has this exact same fold, and we did the decode with Charlie Kirk, because Charlie Kirk, and I'll show you on here, same on this as well, but on the old $10 bill with Hamilton, there is the number 10 written right here, okay, just like this, and on the other side right here as well, 1010. And if you recall, on the zip line, which is that line that I've just shown you, the lightning comes down, Doc Brown, Doc goes down, zip lines down that from the top of the clock tower down to, you know, where the tree limb fell on the wire to connect it back up. Erica Kirk does that zip line, and in the background there, when Erica Kirk does her zip line in the Emerson Drive video, is a 1010. And if you look where Charlie Kirk got shot on the $10 bill, it's you know, I think it's almost dead center actually on the $10 bill, but it draws out just about like this with Hamilton, and it gets shot right here, yeah, in the neck. Boom, and the blood spurts out, yeah. This is the reference to the Red River flowing again over the dam. The Colorado River is the river that is dammed up, yeah. So that's the Red River, the river of blood, same as in The Shining, yeah. This is Charlie Kirk getting shot in the neck, and that river of blood coming over. I don't think I've ever talked about it in the context of the $1 bill, but it's the same as the $10 bill. The $10 and the $1 are the same, essentially, the way this folds. Anyway, and I think I've shown you before as well. I know I've shown this before, but there's another fold marker underneath here that comes across somewhere to over here, and it sort of comes through the eye line there. And of course, Washington's ear is hidden here, but if you were to put his ear in, you know, that's roughly about where the ear would be. Donald Trump got shot in the ear right here, yeah? On this particular ear, you can add these leaves up over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and here's one berry, and here's 3 more leaves, 7, 13. Donald Trump gets shot right here. Charlie Kirk gets shot right here. Okay, we're getting closer to the Hoover Dam as we work down. Anyway, my point of this whole thing is, right, is that what is involved with that is this here and this here. Now these two things, there's something coded in here. Let me explain. This is the number 1. This is the number 1 right here. This is the first. This is the pater right here. This is the again with all the patriot stuff. The pater, the first, the father. This is the father of the country right here. This is number one, numero uno. This is the first president, George Washington, yeah? This is George Washington right here in a portrait frame. Okay, that horseshoe looking thing is an old portrait frame. Okay, so that is representing, this is representing this whole thing here, the dollar bill. Okay, this is the front portrait of Washington facing forward, yeah? This is a frontward portrait frame. Okay, I say portrait. Okay, now if we look at this portrait frame, there's something different about it. Now if you were to imagine this one turned sideways, this is what you would have. This is a sideways portrait, a profile, a side profile of Washington. Where does that occur? Where does the side profile of Washington occur? Right here. Okay, on the quarter. See, this is a side profile of him. Following? Okay, so the numbers that are represented here, well, this represents the number 1 or the number, well, 1.00, or it could represent 4 quarters as well, I suppose. You could do quite a lot of different decodes with that, but at least the number 1. But this represents the number 25. Okay, now one thing to remember is that on the quarter, or at least the quarters that I have in my pocket, Washington is upside down. Okay, so you need to flip that. There might be a reason to flip this number around, which would then make 25 flipped. So 25, when you flip that 25 around, right, okay, it becomes 52. Okay, so 52, now what's interesting about this and this is the number 521, which is written across the bottom of here. Let me show you why that's interesting. We're on the chart of a reign. If you're new, I haven't got time to explain this, but what we're doing is we're looking at Lucas numbers right here, and we're coming across to 521. And 521 is a cross-reference. It's Lucas numbers, the number 2, and it's the 13th Lucas numbers. It's a 213 reference, 521 is. And the start of Lucas numbers is 213. Okay, so 213, 213. And this is the real big date we're looking at, 213. So that not only is a reference to that, but we can take the, it's down here, we can take this individual 25 now, and somewhere here, I have a number jump, which I'd like to show you. Who knows where it is? Okay. Firstly, 52 days on from 213. There's 213 we've got coming up now. 52 or 51 days. 5-1 is May Day. Don't forget that. Not to mention a whole bunch of other stuff, but we just ain't got time to waffle on too long. 52 days takes us to what? 4/5/26. What is 4/5/26? 4/5/26 is Easter. Okay, April the 5th. So that's taken us to the rebirth. Notice the Easter egg here. Let's look. Let's go back. Hang on. Notice the shape of this. It's a bit of a stretch to call that an Easter egg, but anyway, you know, it is kind of egg shaped. The one inside there. Look, let's get rid of this. This is kind of egg. It is a marginal egg shaped thing in there. If I could draw nicely. Okay. Interesting, yeah. That 52 days on from a certain event is going to take us to the rebirth again. This here. Now, don't forget. These leaves and berries on here come to 254, which is 9/11. The 254th day of the year is 9/11. Then we do this 155, okay, right there. So 155 days. Sorry, I should have just put a 1 there instead of a 155 days takes us to what? 213. Yeah, with your leaves and berries here. Follow, yeah, the bad bunny. Follow the bunny. Follow the bunny ears. Follow the white rabbit. Neo. 155 days takes you to 213. Yeah, this down here, these two things are referencing via 51521 back to 213. 52 days here is taking us to Easter. Yeah, notice he's in a kind of an Easter egg here as well. Okay, the egg is the representation of the womb, the Vesica Pisces, this idea of breaking out of that thing, being reborn. Yeah. Okay, and it's all about freedom. Okay, are you willing to fight for your freedom? Now, what's interesting about the Super Bowl is we have a team that has this nice reference to England. In fact, did I mention in the last video about Sir Francis Drake, and we have Drake May, and Sir Francis Drake was, well, he's a pirate, okay, and or a privateer if you want to put a polite term on it. And so he went around terrorizing people. Basically, is basically what the United States of America does right now to certain countries that don't stay in line, and it's basically what all sort of tyrannical countries do. Anyway, which is pretty much every country in the world. They're all up to it. They're all up to no good at certain points. Anyway, what was I going to say? It is interesting that we have, Seattle, the Washington reference, going up against, again, the Sir Francis Drake, who was the savior of England, yeah, in the when against the Spanish Armada. Okay, so it is interesting with that big sea battle. Okay, and the sort of Spanish reference. Remember, that was all really part of Spain at one point in time, wasn't it? So that area of America. So what else am I thinking here? I'm thinking, the idea of independence. This guy going up against essentially England, and Decoding with Cody also was talking about, I don't know if he got that off of me or what, I did leave him a comment, but he was talking about Sir Francis Drake, and he had an interesting connection to that side of the country with him, and a connection to New England. So there was a connection to Sir Francis Drake landing at a certain point on the west coast there and declaring it, that point, New England. Again, this battle between, founding a new free state away from the tyranny of England. I don't know who's going to win. There's a lot of different stories that you can wangle it either way, but that would be one way, or would you do it the other way as a sort of a declaration of why did the Pilgrims come to America to escape persecution again from the crown, so oh dear, again, I don't know. Anyway, I want to show that. What else we got in here? I showed you the connection with the Barber pole there and the Barber quarter. I did have some number jumps. Now, while we're on the idea of silver crashing, I wanted to show you this. This is a thing that I've talked about in the past before, but I was like, I need to revisit and double check all the number jumps with it. But the Silver Bridge collapse, you might have heard of this. Anyway, I'm not going to go into it. It's on Wikipedia if you want to look it up. What I want to do is show you the fact that it's a suspension bridge, quite similar. Let me show you. It's similar. Well, all suspension bridges are quite similar looking, aren't they? But there's the Silver Bridge, and then if you look at the Golden Gate, again, there's, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, the thing of it is it's called the Silver Bridge, okay? And it's interesting that we're with the Golden Gate. Anyway, if we look at the when it opened, and also what we want to do is when it collapsed, which was December the 15th, 1967. Let's look at that. Okay, already given it away. December the 15th, 1967 through to Super Bowl. Okay, let's look at this number here because we're talking about the crashing of silver, the collapse of silver. Okay, look at this number. It's the 60th star, yeah, and we're dealing with what? We're dealing with Super Bowl 60. Yeah, there's the Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, so the 60th star with the collapse of that bridge. I don't know if I had any. There were a couple of other interesting number jumps, but I don't think we'll worry about them. Was this? No, I was looking at through to the. No, that's not. This was the other one. This is the replacement, the Memorial Silver Bridge, I guess, or the Memorial Bridge, which might be down here somewhere. It might say about something. So it's followed by the Silver Memorial Bridge, okay, which was opened the 15th of December 69. Just one other thing though, just let's back up here a minute. Just check up the west coordinates here. 82 degrees, 8 minutes, 28 seconds. So 82828. Kind of interesting because we're in the west. Where the Super Bowl is going to be in the west. Anyway, that's marginally interesting, isn't it? What was I on? This. So this is the replacement bridge through to that particular date, 20509. I just thought it was an interesting looking number. Anything interesting? 2315 prime. I don't know what that means. But just remember, 259 is Superman's birthday. Okay, Christopher Reeve. Okay, here's our 259. 259. Okay, the 203rd composite number, and I believe there might have been like I can't remember what it was now. I feel like there was some 2-3 stuff with something here. Anyway, not to worry. 259. Okay, Superman's birthday. Let me show you something else that's connected to this. What else have I got here? I felt like there was something with. What have I got? This is Diana's birthday. Oh, what was I thinking with this? For the life of me, I can't remember. The other bridge collapse had 2-3. The Key Bridge. It had 263 numerology. Okay, and well, without getting really complicated, we looked at the Hoover Dam with a lot of these numbers as well, and this is Diana through to 29 to the wedding day. Okay, so the previous day would be the death through to a fresh white wedding, 236, which is coincidentally the 23rd of June was the original release date for Madonna's Who's That Girl song. Okay, now I feel like I had a where in the hell's bells was it? Oh, let me show you something else with this as well. I might come back on that 236. If I back this up to the 5th, yeah, that 25, the 25 again, okay, we've had a lot of numbers match up for this particular date as well, which again is the 25. If we, hang on a minute, we need to click this and have a look what it comes out at. No, it wasn't this then. Hang on, was it this? No. Well, what the hell date was that? Was it on two? I can't remember now. There it is. Okay. I was thinking before that this wasn't. I thought it was on 25. I guess if you do 25 and add the date on, that's what I was doing. So that's what I was doing before. So there's 25 with the silver, with the quarter. Okay. The 25 years silver anniversary, all the 25 stuff. Yeah. It is the gateway. Okay. This came out to, the composite was interesting, 1885. Okay, get rid of the 0, 1885. That's our year in Back to the Future. I just thought it was something marginally interesting. Now let's see. I can't remember. I had something for 236. That's what it was. Okay. What this is here, let me show you what this is. This is pretty interesting as well. I thought this was a good. So the train that crashes. Okay. So again, Diana. Okay. Super Bowl. No good. 236. Now look, this number here. Oh well, let's just go to the actual right here. This is the train in Back to the Future. This is the real life train in Back to the Future. It's a real steam train. Okay. Its birthday is 326. That's what I wanted to show. The fact that the train that crashes in that canyon didn't really crash, they just crashed a model. But the train that crashes in the canyon, 326, okay, and then this connection back with Diana with 236, okay. Same numerology. I know it's all muddled up, but you could read this number backwards, 623, and you could wangle it, and 236 the other way. Okay, however you want to do it. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting as well, worth mentioning. A couple of other things. This train has been, and it's actually started with Clint Eastwood in several things as well. You can just read the thing on it. The first film that was in was called The Terror. Unbelievable. But you can see it's just been in a ton of films. Okay, a lot of westerns, of course. Now there was something else I wanted. Yeah, Hooterville Cannonball was the name of the train in Petticoat Junction. Okay. Anyway, I don't want to spend any more time on that either. Really, just some interesting bits and pieces. Where to put it, because we're talking about Madonna. Maybe in a train-related accident tomorrow on the 31st into the 1st. And also remember, I didn't show you this in the other video. No. What do we want here? I was wanting to show you. I thought I had in. Nope. Oh darn it! This is about being unorganized. What was this one? Here we are. That's what I want. Elvis's birthday. I forgot to show you this in the last video. I think I showed it a couple of videos further back. This is Elvis's birthday through to the 1st of February. So this is the day after what would be the crash of Madonna, the 31st of January. The day after, look at the number jump, right? Interesting with the 236 numbers in there again. And 29700 composite. 297 is the date of Princess Diana and Charles's wedding. 29th of July. And the reason why that is important, if we go to the chart of Lorraine, this is the middle. These are the two important numbers for the metaphysical and the physical. Yeah, the twin towers here. These two combined, yeah, are equal in this. Okay, it's the 7th Lucas number. This is why they picked that date for the white wedding. Yeah. Okay. Diana's birthday number's right here. Don't forget this is the clock tower here. Okay, there's the 14 of the clock stopping, and again 1114 is Charles's birthday. So you got those two birthdays right in there as well. So that is, super duper important. What else have I got? This is crazy. This is so all over the place. I do apologise, but pretty interesting stuff, isn't it? You start thinking about that silver reference and it's just everywhere. I want to talk about the moon here in just a second, and we'll do the iPet Go bit of a decode. But just before I forget about it, don't forget as well, Judgment Day Terminator 2. The robot, the Terminator that is sent back is what? Liquid silver. Yeah? Liquid silver. Even with the DeLorean with 88 miles an hour, there's a silver reference there with Mercury, yeah? Quicksilver. It's absolutely nuts. Anyway, let's do the iPet Goat thing. I want to show you something in here. So this is the scene with Madonna, the Black Madonna, and the Super Bowl reference with the Lombardi Trophy. And what do we have going on here? We have a couple of things actually that I want to reference before this as well, but we don't really need. I don't know if we necessarily need to go back and look at this other stuff, but I want to show you it because. So if we just go back just a few seconds earlier, there's this reference to. Hang on, what would I do here? Let's back it up a little bit. Right. In fact, there is actually a reference to the market crash right here as well. Hang on, back up. If you look in the eyes of this thing, okay, notice as well that this reference to money here, notice this dude he's got the dollar bill references with the swirly gigs here and the pyramid from the back of the dollar bill, yada yada yada. Notice the silver reference as well with him right here, okay. And notice the market plunge thing. Yeah, markets plunge. Okay, and then we've got some kind of reference to bombing and war going on. And this thing right here again, the temple. Okay, this is a temple, albeit an eastern one. Notice the crescent moon reference here. So this moon reference to the dome, to the white. Yeah, this is like the full moon right here. That is about to collapse. Okay. Notice this thing as well. See this like little moth thing? I'll call that a moth. Now on the dollar bill, what you'll notice is that these little things here, as I referred to them before, these fold markers look like little moths. Okay? They look like little moths. This is just a repeat. This is a repeat of this pattern all the way around. In fact, the little owl here is also a repeat of this pattern. but they do look like I've said they look like moths or little. They could be some kind of winged angel type thing or something, or they're just a representation of the owl as well, maybe. So anyway, I just thought that was worth mentioning because where were we? Because of this thing going up in flames. Again, you could look at that as the metaphysical as well. The moth, the night butterfly, the metaphysical, the white, like the dove from above, burning up. Oh dear, tragedy. And we're into this scene here, okay, with maybe a memorial service at the Super Bowl for the Black Madonna. Now, notice that on the 1st of February we just had that moon reference there with that mosque type thing, yeah. A full moon is going to be on the 1st of February, and it's going to be, so that'll be the day after the 31st, right? For people that are calendar challenged. Notice this snow falling here, okay? It is the snow moon, okay? So that moon, the full moon that we're going to see, is the snow moon. Now, the snow moon is going to go on to do something very interesting at the Antarctic. Now, look at this. Look at the way these, this almost looks like, some kind of edge of somewhere frozen. Yeah? Like maybe the Antarctic. Okay? Right? At the Antarctic, the snow moon, when it becomes the new moon, okay, on the 17th of February, there is going to be an annular eclipse with that as well. Let me show you the stuff. So, and this is what this could be representing here, this red ring, right? So, let me show you that. Right, what's this? Yes, an annular solar eclipse will occur at the moon's ascending node, blah blah blah, 17th of February 2026. And as you see, here it is. There's Antarctica right there, okay, where this is occurring. So that's kind of interesting with that whole scene, because that would establish us with a reference to this particular snow moon. Okay. What else was I going to say about it? Yeah. February's full moon also knows that blah blah, all those different names. Next comes the new moon on Tuesday, Feb 17th. It will cause a rare, and I don't know how rare annular solar eclipse, often called Ring of Fire. So as we saw that red circle there, just as the center of the sun's visible surface blocked by the moon, blah blah blah. Seen only from Antarctica. I think it might be visible, partially visible in other places. Maybe, I'm not sure. But anyway, there's some other interesting stuff with it, but I can't be bothered to go through it right now. But yeah, that could be referencing the snow moon reference with Madonna. So that would put us in this time frame. Okay, 131. Okay, there's 3 there. 131. I don't know how you get 131, but anyway, yeah, this is fairly interesting for sure. What else did I have? I think that's about it for now. I really wanted to show that D code on the dollar bill because that is super duper important. There was a couple of other number jumps. I remember remember that 52-day jump from 213, okay, which is on the dollar bill, and then we've got the quarter reference at the bottom, which will take us to Easter. Also, 51 days is May Day, Great May. Also, 51 days is 105 days from from 9/11 to Christmas, 105, 5-1 numerology, 1-5 numerology, yeah? Super duper important, yeah? So rebirth. This is what? A rebirth right here. So this could be fairly significant. What else? This was, I just wanted to mention this as well, that 521 days will take us from a 9/11. Just happens to be 2024. It's 1 year, 56 days, and that will take us from a 9/11 through to a 213 as well. So that is also fascinating. And was there anything else I wanted to mention? Don't forget that's at the top of the dartboard. And the O, the ring of the ring, the ring is our 25, yeah? And then the red eye is in the middle, the red eye is in the middle of the dartboard. Thing you've got to hit and get through to be reborn. Okay, coming out of the metaphysical, that is letting go of all the control, all of the stuff that we have, all the ridiculous technology that we don't really need. And it's about letting go of all that stuff, which getting rid of that takes away the controller's powers. Okay, it enables you to become free again. Right, what else? That's it. I did have something for the Montparnasse train crash. I wanted to show you that Let me show you that as well real quick because of the train. Where the hell we got that? Here is again the Montparnasse train crash. Very similar to the idea of the train going over the canyon. Talked about this over and over and over and over again. I thought I had a number jump with it. Yes, here it is. So from that crash to 2.8, this number right here is 4906 prime. Now I didn't really have much for this. It is interesting, the composite 53,000 there, because that's actually 53 is the corner of the clock tower in the Chart of Lorraine. But with this 4906 though, there was something interesting. Let me show you something. But I haven't really done all the number jumps for it yet, so I don't know if there's anything else to it or whether it's just, a dead end. I'm trying to think where I had that now. I thought I had that in here. Here it is. Let's go back. This is actually one of the characters that's in the band. She's got a 1010. Eric Martin has the 1010 birthday, just like the 1010 on the dollar bill. They've all got interesting birthdays, but we're with the band Mr. Big, and again BIG. If you just take what those letters look like, 819, which is what we were getting from Madonna here, just the last video a lot. And what was interesting about it was, if you look at hang on, where's the album I want? Lean Into It, right? Look into their Lean Into It album. So it's got that same train wreck as their album cover, and I just thought this was interesting. I mean, I haven't really run any of the numbers yet. I might have had one of. I think I had one of them in here. I can't remember if it was interesting or not. But anyway, 4609. Okay, 4609. What one were we on? Here. So their album length there, with that on the cover, is 4609, and from the actual train wreck to 2.8 is 4906 prime. I don't know. Is that a good connection or not? I don't know. I thought it was interesting enough to mention it, So from the actual real train wreck to 2.8 26 was actually similar number. It's the same numbers, just a different permutation. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to mention, but again, the quarter reference with the Seahawks, I think that's pretty important. Yeah, the Silver Hawk there, Washington State. In Back to the Future, we have the barber shop. Barber was one of the early designers of the quarter. So just crazy stuff, right? And here's our other Washington reference. Okay, don't forget there is an eagle on the other side of this as well. Okay, yeah. I don't know if there's any Patriot reference to this. Of course, the last time we were decoding this, we were talking about the Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, and I guess I'll catch you on another one soon. I might expand out on some of those ideas in there if I get a chance, but I just haven't had enough time to really sit down and put anything together. Anyway, I'll catch you later. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye bye.